Welcome to English Stories for Beginners, where simple stories help you improve your English. Today's story is about a young man who has a dream, but very little money. He works hard every day, but for a long time, nothing seems to change. It is a story about motivation, patience, and the power of taking one small step every day. Before we begin, here are 3 useful words you will hear in the story. The first word is effort. Effort means the energy you use when you try to do something. The second word is consistent. Consistent means doing something regularly and not stopping. The third word is progress. Progress means moving closer to your goal. Listen carefully and try to notice these words during the story. Now, let's begin. Every morning at 5 o'clock, Daniel's alarm rang. The sound was loud and unpleasant. Daniel always wanted to turn it off and sleep again. His room was cold, his body was tired, and the sun was not yet in the sky. But every morning Daniel sat up and said the same words: "One more day, one more step." Daniel was 24 years old. He lived with his mother in a small apartment above an old grocery shop. During the day, he worked in a large supermarket. He carried heavy boxes, filled the shelves, and helped customers find what they needed. The work was tiring, but Daniel did not complain. His job paid for food, electricity, and rent. He was thankful for it. However, Daniel had another dream. He wanted to become a baker. When Daniel was a child, his father made bread at home every Sunday. His father was not a professional baker, but he loved making things with his hands. The kitchen always smelled warm and sweet. Daniel remembered watching the dough grow inside a large bowl. He remembered the sound of the bread when his father cut it. He remembered eating the first hot piece with butter. His father often said, "Good bread needs time. You cannot hurry it." Daniel's father died when Daniel was 16. After that, Daniel stopped making bread for many years. The memories were too painful. Then, one rainy evening, Daniel found his father's old recipe book inside a box. The pages were yellow. Some words were difficult to read. There was flour between several pages. Daniel slowly opened the book. On the first page, his father had written a short message. "Make something with love and share it with others." Daniel sat quietly for a long time. That evening he decided to bake bread again. His first loaf was terrible. The outside was too dark and the inside was wet. It did not look like the bread from his childhood. Daniel looked at it and laughed. Then his mother came into the kitchen. "What happened here?" she asked. "I tried to make Dad's bread," Daniel said, "but I think I made a heavy brown stone." His mother smiled and tasted a small piece. "It is not perfect," she said. "That is a very kind way to say it is bad." "It is only your first try." Daniel looked at the failed loaf. "Maybe I'm not good at this." His mother put the recipe book on the table. "Your father made bad bread too," she said. "You were too young to remember. He made many mistakes before his bread became good." Daniel looked surprised. "Really?" "Of course. People often see the result, but they do not see the effort before the result." Daniel thought about the word effort. That night, he decided to try again. Because he worked at the supermarket during the day, Daniel began baking early in the morning. He woke up at 5 o'clock, washed his face, and went to the kitchen. At first, waking up early was very difficult. Some mornings he was too tired. Some mornings he wanted to stay in bed. Sometimes he asked himself why he was doing this. Nobody was paying him to bake. Nobody was waiting for his bread. Nobody knew about his dream. But Daniel remembered his father's message: make something with love and share it with others. So Daniel continued. He watched free baking lessons online. He wrote notes in a small notebook. He learned about flour, water, temperature, and time. He made one loaf before work whenever he could. The second loaf was better than the first, but it was still too hard. The third loaf had no taste. The fourth loaf did not grow. The fifth loaf looked beautiful, but Daniel forgot the salt. His mother took one bite and immediately drank a glass of water. Daniel laughed. "I am improving very slowly," he said. "You are still improving," his mother replied. After 2 months, Daniel began to understand his mistakes. He learned that small details were important. He learned that the water should not be too hot. He learned that dough needed enough time to rest. He learned to use his hands gently. His bread slowly became softer and better. One morning, Daniel made a loaf that looked almost perfect. It had a golden color and a wonderful smell. He carried it to the supermarket and shared it with 2 co-workers during their break. One co-worker took a bite and said, "Daniel, where did you buy this?" "I made it." "You made this?" Daniel smiled. "Yes, this morning." His co-worker asked for another piece. For the first time, Daniel felt that his dream might be possible. He started bringing bread to work once a week. Sometimes he made simple white bread. Sometimes he made small rolls. Sometimes he added seeds. People began asking him questions. "Can you make bread for my family? Can I order 6 rolls for Saturday? Can you make something for my daughter's birthday?" Daniel was excited, but he was also afraid. Making bread for his mother was one thing. Selling it to other people was different. What if they did not like it? What if he made a mistake? What if he failed? One evening, Daniel told his mother about the orders. "I want to say yes," he said, "but I am nervous." His mother looked at him carefully. "You do not need to feel ready before you begin." "What do you mean?" "Sometimes you begin, and then you slowly become ready." Daniel thought about this. The next day, he accepted his first order. He woke up at 4:30 on Saturday morning. He prepared the dough carefully. He checked every step twice. At 9 o'clock, he placed 6 fresh rolls inside a clean paper bag. His hands shook when he gave the bag to his co-worker. On Monday, the co-worker found Daniel near the supermarket entrance. "My family loved the rolls," she said. "My husband wants to know when he can order more." Daniel felt a warm happiness inside his chest. His first order was small, but it was real progress. He used the money to buy better flour. For the next 6 months, Daniel followed the same routine. He woke up early. He baked before work. He wrote down his mistakes. He listened to customers. He practiced new recipes on Sundays. He was consistent. Not every day was easy. Sometimes the bread failed. Sometimes a customer changed an order at the last minute. Sometimes Daniel worked late at the supermarket and only slept for 5 hours. One morning he dropped 12 finished rolls on the kitchen floor. He stood there, looking at them. He wanted to shout. He wanted to stop. He was tired of waking up early. He was tired of trying so hard. He was tired of moving forward so slowly. Daniel sat down at the kitchen table. "Maybe this is too difficult," he said. His mother did not immediately answer. She made 2 cups of tea and sat across from him. "Do you remember your first loaf?" she asked. "The brown stone?" "Yes." Daniel smiled a little. "Look at your bread now," she said. "You are looking only at today's problem. You are forgetting all your progress." Daniel looked at the rolls on the floor. The accident was bad, but his mother was right. 6 months earlier, He could not make one good loaf. Now people were paying for his bread. He was not standing in the same place. He was tired, but he was moving forward. Daniel took a deep breath. Then he stood up, cleaned the floor, and started again. He worked quickly but carefully. The new rolls were ready later than planned, so Daniel called the customer and explained the situation honestly. "I am sorry," he said. "There was an accident in the kitchen. Your order will be 30 minutes late." The customer was understanding. "Thank you for telling me," she said. That day, Daniel learned another important lesson. Hard work did not mean never making mistakes. It meant taking responsibility and continuing after a mistake. As the months passed, more people heard about Daniel's bread. He created a simple page online. He took photos of his bread with his phone. He wrote the prices and explained how people could order. At first, only friends and co-workers followed the page. Then one customer shared a photo. Another person shared it too. Slowly, Daniel received more orders. He did not suddenly become rich. He did not leave his supermarket job immediately. His kitchen did not become a famous bakery. His success was much quieter. He saved a little money each month. He bought a larger mixing bowl. Then he bought a stronger oven. Later, he began using a small room behind a local cafe for his Saturday orders. The cafe owner was a woman named Maria. She had tasted Daniel's bread at a friend's home. "I need fresh bread for my weekend customers," Maria told him. "Can you make 20 loaves every Saturday?" 20 loaves sounded impossible. Daniel had never made so many in one day. He felt the old fear again. "What if I cannot do it?" he asked. Maria smiled. "Can you make 5?" "Yes." "Then begin with 5. Next week, make 10. We can grow slowly." Daniel agreed. For the first month, he made 5 loaves every Saturday. Then he made 8. Then 10. After several months, he could make 20 good loaves without feeling afraid. Every Saturday morning, customers came into the cafe and asked for Daniel's bread. Some people knew his name. Others simply called him the Bread Man. Daniel liked both. One Sunday, almost 2 years after he found the old recipe book, Daniel sat at the kitchen table with his mother. He opened his notebook. On the first page, he had written about his first loaf. Too dark, wet inside. Try again. Daniel turned the pages slowly. Each page showed a small part of his journey. Use less water. Wait longer. Do not forget the salt. Customer liked the rolls. First cafe order. 20 loaves completed. Daniel looked around the kitchen. There were bags of flour, clean tools, order lists, and fresh bread on the table. His dream was no longer only an idea. It had become part of his life. His mother looked at him. "Your father would be proud of you," she said. Daniel looked down at the old recipe book. For a moment he could almost hear his father's voice. "Good bread needs time. You cannot hurry it." Daniel smiled. "I thought hard work meant making one big change," he said. "But it is really many small actions." His mother nodded. "And many early mornings." Daniel laughed. "Yes, very many early mornings." A year later, Daniel reduced his hours at the supermarket. He spent more time baking for the cafe and for private customers. He still had difficult days. He still made mistakes. There were still mornings when he wanted to turn off the alarm. But now he understood something important. Motivation did not always arrive before the work. Sometimes motivation came after he started. Sometimes he felt tired when he entered the kitchen. But after mixing the flour and water, he felt better. The action created the motivation. Daniel also understood that hard work was not about hurting yourself or never resting. He took one day off each week. He slept more when he could. He asked his mother and Maria for help when he needed it. Hard work meant giving honest effort to something important. It meant being consistent even when the results were small. It meant respecting the time needed for progress. Daniel never forgot his first loaf. He kept a small picture of it inside his notebook. It reminded him that every skilled person was once a beginner. When new bakers asked him for advice, he told them the same thing. Do not wait to feel perfect. Begin with what you have. Learn from each mistake. Then return tomorrow. Daniel's story teaches us that our dreams often need time. We may work for days, weeks, or months before we see a clear result. During that time, it is easy to believe that nothing is changing, but small actions are not useless. Every time you practice, you learn something. Every time you continue after a mistake, you become stronger. Every small step can take you closer to your goal. You do not need to change your whole life today. You only need to take one honest step and then take another step tomorrow. Now, let's review the 3 words from today's story. The first word was effort. Effort means the energy you use when you try to do something. Daniel gave a lot of effort to learning how to make good bread. The second word was consistent. Consistent means doing something regularly and not stopping. Daniel was consistent because he practiced baking almost every morning. The third word was progress. Progress means moving closer to your goal. Daniel's first successful order showed that he was making progress. Now, answer these questions. Why did Daniel want to become a baker? What did Daniel do after he dropped the rolls on the kitchen floor? How did Daniel slowly grow his baking business? Write your answers in the comments. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to English Stories for Beginners and watch our other videos to continue improving your English. Listen to the story again, repeat the useful sentences, practice the 3 new words, and keep learning one story at a time.